Can you guys see me yet? Woo! Am I alive? Am I alive? Yay, we're live. Okay, cool. How are you guys? A couple minutes late joining you. Thank you for your patience. We have a very exciting hour ahead of us because we're talking about Rome. And we are going to work with our ancestors tonight. We're kind of this is like a pre-Samhain gathering. If you don't know what Samhain is the annual Celtic festival that honors the thinning of the veil, as we put it, at Halloween. It aligns with Halloween. And it's when you welcome your ancestors back. It's when you work with ancestral wisdom. It's when you do ancestral healing. And it's when you can cut cords to old ancestral patterns that aren't serving you anymore. You guys are getting a pre-Samhain celebration tonight. So I hope you're excited. I'm going to teach you the history of the Lemuralia, which is the Roman version of Day of the Dead. Happens in May. It actually happens on the 9th, 11th, and 13th of May every year. Historically, those were the dates. Melanie's feeling it already. Yay! So we're going to get the Samhain party started tonight. I want to tell you one thing really quick that's important. We have an 18% sale today. That ends at midnight. There is no 18% tomorrow, okay? So if you're going to get your tools, I'm not doing 18% sales much more. It's really, our prices are very, very competitive at Sage Goddess and very low. One example is the Olas kit that's in the shop right now. Like literally, I couldn't shave $1 off of that. We've got the price so reasonable on it. So we're not doing 18% sales much anymore. That ends today. I think the code is Sunny18. Your kit is in the shop. Your $19 kit is almost 20% off, but that's only until midnight. So if you want that discount, I will tell you, you're not going to see that again for quite a long time. So tonight is the night to get your kits. Here's why I want you to get next month's kit. You're going to thank me for it. We're doing tea ceremony together. We're going to Japan next month. Your kit is so beautiful. And the star of the show is your dram for the kit next month, which is called Wabi. I'm going to teach you the concept of wabi-sabi. I'm so excited for you guys. So if you're already on subscription, don't worry. But if you're not, and most of you are not, today is the day to get the kit. You absolutely do not want to miss your kit today. Team SG, if you can pop the link up, it might actually make it easier for everybody. In your wabi dram, let me just tell you the notes. Are you ready? It's pure EO, not cut. It's champaka, which is my favorite flower. Okay, yuzu, which is a really sharp citrus that brings prosperity. Lily attar, which relieves depression. Orris root, which is for purification and protection, and then rosemary, which is also for protection and purification, but it also has energies of psychic development. This is so beautiful. You're going to lose your mind. It'll become your favorite perfume, and you can dilute it. You can put it in coconut oil. You can put it in your body lotion. It goes through like 3 or 4 different phases. It starts out kind of sharp because that rosemary is a top note, but it drops down through that champaka to that lily attar, and it's very grounding. So it moves through these waves. It's one of the most interesting things we've ever made for you. So do not miss next month's kit, especially while it's 20% off, which, like I said, not for the rest of this month. You're not going to see 18% off anywhere, so I want to give you that heads up. I know, right, Cynthia? All right, cool. Well, there's still some in stock. And so those of you who are on subscription have nothing to worry about, but those of you who are not, I would recommend before midnight. Like set an alarm on your phone because I wouldn't want you to miss the discount. I know it's only a few percent, but it does make a difference. And so that's why I haven't made a global announcement to our community that the 18% ends at midnight, but you guys know. And so if there's anything else from Denver, anything else where that, extra 3%, because if you're in Holistic Healer, you get 15%. But if there's anything else where that would benefit you, I wouldn't want you to miss on the opportunity. Louisa's got it. He's good. Okay. So tonight, let me put Japan away, but we are doing tea ceremony. I'll talk to you more about that. Hinoki wood is one of my favorite essential oils, and we have it in your kit. It's super exciting. So it's Hinoki wood, lemongrass, your dram of your wabi, and then you're getting hydrangea root and matcha powder, green tea powder. And so one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you brew tea before our next session, because I'm going to lead you through just a brief tea ceremony And then we'll use the herbs and the oils to sort of deepen the resonance and the connection for that. Isn't that going to be fun? I know, right? I love matcha too. And matcha is so good for you. Did you know? So I'm going to teach you next month how to take next month's kit and make a really powerful bath salt. I'll teach you how to make a bath salt and also how to make sort of a bath oil blend if you want to do something different. But what I'm going to recommend is you take Epsom salt, which is my favorite bathing salt. I love to bathe with Epsom and pink Himalayan. If I can put them together, that's my favorite. But if I only have one choice, I always bathe with Epsom salts at home. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of your matcha powder from next month's kit. You can do it before. I mean, if you want to do this as soon as your kit arrives, I would highly recommend it. You're going to kiss me for it. So get yourself, you can go on Amazon or just go to CVS or your local drugstore and get a thing of Epsom salts. It'll cost you $2 or $3. Okay, you just need about 6 or 8 ounces of them. Then you're going to sprinkle an even layer of your matcha powder over your salts, and then you're going to take your lemongrass essential oil from next month's kit. This is all in next month's kit. And you're going to drop to 6 or 8 ounces of salt. I'm going to have you put about 10 to 12 drops of lemongrass. Lemongrass is super strong. The combination of matcha with lemongrass is going to blow your mind. It is a bath for creativity. It is a bath for passion. And it's a bath for clarity. So before you paint, before you do a reading, before you journal, before you meditate, this is going to be your new creativity bath. It's going to blow your mind. It's one of my secrets. And so matcha lemongrass bath. I'm going to teach you how to do that next month, and tea ceremony. So we have some fun things happening as we head into Imperial Japan. Isn't it exciting? No, so Samantha, you don't have to write it down now, but it's kind of fun. It gives you something to do when your kit comes. So if you want to know what I would do, as soon as your kit comes, get some Epsom salt now so that when your kit arrives, you're all ready. Take the lid off that matcha, sprinkle it over. I do a very light layer of green. The matcha powder is green, like a natural sort of, it's beautiful. Sprinkle a very light layer, like I said, 8, 10, 12 drops max of lemongrass. It's overpowering, so you'll know. And then you want to mix that with your hands. I like to mix my bath salts with my hands because it's a more even distribution and it just feels good too. It's a really nice treatment for your hands. And then about, if you make 6 to 8 ounces of that, that's going to be about 3 baths worth. It's very, very, very relaxing. So I think you're going to enjoy that. I know, right? Michelle, let me do that. I'd be happy to make a meme for that, just to remind you. But when your kit comes, just remember I told you, get in the bathtub. That's the first use of next month's tools. Okay. So tonight we are talking about Rome. I've had crazy allergies since I got back from Denver, so bear with me. We're going to be talking about rosemary leaf. Right here. This is what your beautiful rosemary looks like. Just like you have in your kitchen, like you bake into your bread, or you put on top of your vegetables, or when I cook chicken I always add rosemary. If I make chicken soup I always add rosemary. And then olive leaf, which looks like this. Olive leaf to me is intoxicating. I have a fun story to tell you about olive trees and olive leaves and the relationship between olives in ancient Greece. And then your essential oils for tonight are blood orange, which is a sexy, sexy sister to sweet orange and tangerine. She's different. This is a lust oil. So tonight I'm going to be teaching you about how to make, because you also have violet leaf absolute, I'm going to teach you how to make a truly, truly, truly passionate bath oil for yourself tonight. If you have all the ingredients, you'll be able to put this together, but the two primary ingredients are violet leaf and blood orange. If you have both of your bottles, take the caps off and just do one long inhale. It's going to blow your mind. That violet leaf is really earthy, right? And that blood orange is a little bit sharper than your sweet orange. And so the combination of them is really, really incredible. Thank you, Kimberly, for that. I will tell you something, and you know how year to year allergies are different, but this year my allergies have been worse and they've lasted longer. But what's interesting is everybody else I know in Southern California has said the same thing. It's really, really interesting. Now my kids, who notoriously have really bad allergies, have had an easier time this year. So I feel like I got like the weird harder side of the allergies, and then my kids, who normally really struggle, have had an easier time. So I don't know. But that's a good thought. Okay, so I'm going to light some charcoal just because this is how I like to work with my essential oils during class. I like to diffuse them on charcoal. They work like incense, right? And so if you want to do that with me, you can sort of torch up your charcoal and get that cooking. As soon as it turns red or starts to spit at you and smoke, that's how you know your charcoal is ready. Michelle. You know, do the joys of menopause ever quit? Or does it just get better and better and better with every shitty symptom that comes along? I love being a woman. I absolutely love it. I have to tell you, I enjoy every single thing about being a woman. But menopause sucks. It just does. So let me double check for you on that, Simone. The blood orange this time and the violet leaf absolute. So the violet leaf absolute is a 10% dilution, and I want to explain that. So thank you for asking. The violet leaf absolute, and you can do your homework here too, is ridiculously expensive. The only way we could keep your kit at $19 this month was to give you a fractionated version, okay? Otherwise the kit would have been closer to $40 to $60. And that's wholesale, okay? Violet leaf absolute is ridiculously expensive. It's very powerful, which is why. But your blood orange is 100% pure. So this is cut, your violet leaf is cut to maintain your cost. But your blood orange is pure, and so this is uncut. And then your violet leaf is suspended in fractionated coconut, just so you know. I believe it's fractionated coconut. That's what I put in the group, so I'm pretty sure it's fractionated coconut. But FYI on that. Kathy's oldest son took her blood orange, and she had to snatch it back. I really like that. Well, yeah, Cindy, that's a conversation for another day. Not going to go there tonight. That would be a digression. Okay, so if you don't have your kit, you're going to play along, and I try to bring it to life for you as best I can. But I am really excited to talk to you about everything that we have on our agenda for this evening. So let us get started. Okay, now I have my notes because some of the words I'm going to talk to you about are in Latin, and I don't want to mispronounce. Those are the kinds of things we can talk about at the sabbatical retreat in October, though. That'll be a juicy conversation for that occasion. Okay, so isn't it interesting how every culture around the world pretty much does the same thing, but they call it something else, and it might be at a different time? So the Romans were really the first. Of course, who's really the first, right? Everybody says we were first. I was first. I was first. But the Romans really were the first to have these festivals of the dead. And they believed, you know, in other traditions, like in Dia de los Muertos, the idea is that you keep your family member's memory alive by remembering them, by including them on your ofrenda or your altar, by keeping photographs of them in your home and so forth. It's a more positive view. In Rome, they thought that the spirits of dead people were actually somewhat dangerous. And so, especially what they called the Tacitae Inferi. Tacitae Inferi are known as the silent dead or the quiet dead, and they were thought to be the scariest. So if you never heard from your ancestors, if they didn't come across the veil to visit you at La Moralia, then you really had to be afraid, because the quiet dead are the ones that you don't want to you don't want to encounter in the middle of the night. So those were the scariest ones. But it was known as a festival of departed souls. It was held on the 9th, 11th, and 13 days of May, and on each day they did a different ritual. And it was a very ceremonial occasion, and everybody participated because, of course, everybody has ancestors. So it's interesting, in ancient Rome, this wasn't like a pagan thing. You know how Halloween and Samhain for us is kind of like, oh, it's what pagan people do, or it's what witches do. And Nathan, me too. One of the most exciting experiences of my life was hearing Mass, Catholic Mass in Latin. Just shivers up my spine. So beautiful, right? So Latin to me is a very sexy language. I studied Latin from the time I was in high school all the way through college. Every elective I took was in Latin. I was really lucky at University of California, Irvine, where I did my undergraduate work. We actually had an entire dedicated Latin department. So I took a whole course on Ovid, for example. the Latin poets. And so that's part of my passion, is reading in Latin and being read to in Latin. I had a professor who would stand and just read Ovid to us, in Latin, and how incredible that was. And so anyway, what a beautiful experience. If you've heard Latin, if you've received Mass in Latin, if you've been taught in Latin, then you know what a beautiful language it is. It's very sexy. Okay, so what do I want to tell you? There's a whole other story, and there's a story about this hand thing that they used to do called the fig hand, or the mano-fica, or mano-fico, which actually, you don't want to go around doing this. It's kind of it's a vulgar symbol. Okay, it's it's supposed to represent female genitalia, but during Lemuralia, this was thought to be a symbol that represented protection. It was like a way of warding off evil spirits. So it's funny, like now, if you were to run around like this in Europe, somebody would probably hit you. But in ancient times, if you did this, you were warding off evil spirits. And so there's sort of a funny story about that too. I would love to read you some Latin. Maybe next time. I haven't unpacked all my college books. They're still in boxes in my garage, but I've been kind of jonesing for them lately because it has all my notes, when I was a student, like all my little notes in the margin and stuff, like my original copy of Ovid's Metamorphoses. Or I would love to read you some Dante in Italian. There's nothing like hearing the Inferno in Italian, which is how I learned it, because I took the class. I took a survey course in Dante's literature in Italian. So I would love to read to you in some other languages. That's my background. And so when I talk to you about language and when I talk to you about translation and all these things, it's part of my passion, because that's where I came from with my background. The first line of Dante's Inferno in Italian will send shivers up my spine for the rest of my life. At the very least, I will read you the first couple of lines of the Inferno in Italian, because it's different. It's not the same as it is in English. Italian is a much richer language than English, as are most of the Romance languages, and so things sort of fall flat. Anyway. Okay, so the name Lemuralia actually comes from the Lemurae, who were a certain kind of spirit, one of the kinds of the spirits. The Romans thought of their dead in categories. So the Lemurae were sort of the benevolent spirits that would come through, and so that's where the name Lemuralia came from. It's true. And I took a class, if you have kids in school, there was a class when I was in college at UC Irvine called The Roots of the English Language. And it was a survey course where they taught you every Greek and Latin root of every common word in the English language. And it was one of the most profoundly useful classes I ever took. You may even want to go, if this is interesting to you, like to your local college or community college and see what they have. Because it would be worth auditing. If you love language the way I do, it would be worth auditing a class like that. I've actually thought about going back and teaching that, almost in an academic way, to anybody who wants to learn the roots, the Greek and Latin roots of the English language, because I could do that. And I've thought about offering that as a bonus class, because I think even kids could take it. It would improve your kids' vocabulary by leaps and miles. My kids love learning all of those words, like what does mega mean from Greek, right? So when they see megalodon or megalomaniac, or, they know that what that word means, and then they can start to figure out the other words too. So maybe that's for next year. Might be kind of cool. It's a little geeky, you know what I mean? It's not magical, but we could throw some magic words in it too, which could be good. So we'll come back to that. We'll think about that. Okay, I'm going to start with violet leaf. Please open your bottles. Isn't it cool? I know, really. And I would love to teach it for kids, because kids are sponges. Like, I swear to you, if I taught your kids Greek and Latin in a class like that, they would be like picking it up so fast. The rest of us, our brains take a little bit longer to integrate that integrate that wisdom. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit of the Violet Leaf Absolute onto the charcoal. Ooh, that was one drop. Ooh, one drop. Violet leaf is extremely protective, so it's a good one to take all the way around your altar, especially since we have an excess of the smoke to use. Dawn's in love with Anima, girl. I don't blame you. Anima is another massive favorite. And we're going to do a guided meditation in tonight's class with Anima. So stay tuned. I'm gonna call in every energy stream of every essential oil that's in that blend tonight, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna be a really exciting exercise. Kristen, tell your kids I love them. Mwah! They are here with me. Across space and time, Auntie Athena is in the house. Okay, so violet leaf. Let's talk about violet leaf. How do I use violet leaf? Violet leaf is one of the most potent essential oils for cellular renewal. And so if nothing else, literally if nothing else, this needs to be on your bathroom sink. And here's what you do. Every morning before you put your makeup on, if you put makeup on, and a lot of you do, even my gentleman friends here occasionally wear makeup. And I love you for that. So what you do is you just put a little bit, I put a little bit on my thumb, and then just a little bit at the outer corners. I'm gonna put it over my makeup because you don't even have to put it on under your makeup. It'll absorb through. Right here, where you get fine lines, you can put it a little bit right here, just the places where you first start to see signs of aging. And violet leaf is notorious for helping with age spots on the hands. So the other thing you wanna do is find out where you're getting those little age spots, and apply a little bit directly, because again, this is fractionated, so it's already diluted for you, directly on your skin, right to age spots. Wrinkles, age spots. It is honestly, in my arsenal, other than helichrysum, it is the best anti-aging oil you will ever use. There are cosmetic companies who are including it in their recipes, and those are their $200, $300, $500 moisturizers. And that's because, again, Violet Leaf Absolute is crazy expensive, but it really works. And so it's a powerful antioxidant. It promotes cellular renewal. It does help to smooth the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. And I have seen it notoriously work around the eyes. I will tell you something. I have not had work done. I'm 45, and I have really bad genes. Okay? I don't come from people who age well, so I am really on it. I watch it. I use essential oils. I try to use all natural products when I can, and I will tell you, around your eyes. And the way you do it around your eyes, by the way, is with your, I don't know if you know this, but my mom's an esthetician, so I learned this from her, your ring fingers around your eyes. If you use your index finger, you're going to push too hard and you can damage the very sensitive skin that's around your eyes. If you do this with your ring finger, what you do is you actually reduce the inflammation, so that if you have, I tend to get like bags under my eyes, especially if I'm tired. If you put a little bit of this on your ring finger and just dab around your eyes, it's going to reduce the puffiness and also the dark circles. Do you get those too? So violet leaf, you don't want it right up next to your eye. You want it down a little bit and out the sides. You don't ever want to put anything right next to your eye. It's not good for you. But right underneath and right out the sides. It's going to reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Simone, we could. So what we could do is we can absolutely provide it to you undiluted. The cost is exorbitant. But if you would like it, we will make it available to you. So can you give me that feedback tonight? There would have to be a couple of you who'd be interested, but I would be happy to do it for you. And I will do it for you as you know, inexpensively as I can, but the cost is a lot. I will tell you that there's enough in this blend for you to experience the anti-aging benefits from it. So you don't have to have pure in order to apply it to your skin. If you got the pure, you'd have to suspend it in an eye cream or in coconut oil anyway, because you don't want to put EO neat on your skin, especially not on your face. But if you would like pure undiluted, okay, I'm down. I've already got, there's already 3 or 4 of you in the feed. I know, Peggy said she paid $70 for a bottle of violet leaf. It is that expensive, but I'd be happy to provide it for you at the 100% concentration if you would like it. Done. Team SG, we are on it, because we talked about this. If there's enough of you who want it, we'd be happy to offer it to you. And especially, you know, some of you may only want the violet leaf. I mean, I hope you enjoy the whole kit, because this is lust in a bottle. If your sex drive is gone, I'm going to put you in a bathtub with a little bit of violet leaf and some blood orange essential oil, and I'm going to wake you up. I'm gonna perk you up just a little bit. Okay, cool. Well, we will get that for you, and as soon as we have it for you, we will get it bottled and offer it to you. Would you guys? Did I hear someone or read someone say they would like helichrysum too? Here's a question for you. Okay. So Melanie, with hooded eyes, by the way, close your eye and do the same thing over the top of your lid, and then open your eye. Anywhere you have puffiness, it's going to help you. And when you use your finger to sort of, like this with gentle pressure, what you do is you actually depuff your eyes. And so every morning, first thing, I go around the top of my eyes and the bottom of my eyes. And as I get older, the puffiness gets worse, right? So it's natural. A lot of people in their 50s and 60s go and have that procedure where they actually have an incision here, and then they remove the fat, and then they close it back up. But that's extreme, and I don't want to do that. And so I'm trying to do it the natural way, as I think a lot of us are. So here's a question for you. Now, what I would want is a blend of violet leaf and helichrysum, uncut together, because those are the anti-aging powerhouses. I'm serious. Fine lines on the cheeks that come up at this age, under the eyes, the stuff on the neck that nobody likes, the age spots. So maybe what I'll do, you tell me, I can do them separately. Yeah, it's called blepharoplasty, like Pamela said, blepharoplasty. Okay, I'm not doing that. I don't really want people to cut into under my eye, but I will tell you something. I look just like my dad, and the bags under my dad's eyes, you could pack for a 5-day trip in them. I love that man, but I seriously could fit like a cat carrier and some snacks and some other things in the bags under his eyes. So I kind of know where I'm headed, which is why I'm trying to do the things right now. Okay, separate it is. I will bring both for you. I'm going to make them AroMagic exclusives because I won't be able to get enough for everybody. So just know when that comes, it's going to be just for you, which is kind of nice too. You won't have to compete to get at it. And I will do my absolute best to keep it at the lowest price for you because I know it can be really prohibitive too. Okay, separate. No, he didn't, Dawn. I mean, my dad washes his face with water, right? So I mean, there's no moisturizer or anything, but anyway, okay. So the Romans, here's what I want to tell you about violet leaf. The Romans, in addition to the anti-aging, here's where all that came from. During the Lemuralia, okay, violet leaf was used for immortality, and it was thought that violet leaf was the only compound, and they worked with it both in its oil form and in its leaf, mostly with the violet leaf in Rome, but they also were distilling. They believed it was immortality. They believed it was a gift from the gods and the ancestors that would allow you to live forever. And part of the reason they thought that was they saw the actual physical effects of using it on the skin. It had anti-aging properties. And so it began to have this reputation as an immortality oil. But it really isn't. It's just an antioxidant and an anti-aging compound. So it'll make you look like you're going to live forever, but the reality is you're not. Unfortunately. Yeah, Terry loves violet leaf tea. It's super yummy. And so you can consume it as a tea. The Romans made wine from the flowers. And then they took the leaves and they scattered them across the tombs for blessings upon the dead. And so the leaves are really what you want when it comes to health and beauty and skincare. It's not the flowers, it's the leaf. And so it's really interesting because you'll hear people talk about violet flowers and for skincare, and that's how you know they're not on the right track. That is not the part of the violet that you want to use for its healing or antioxidant properties. It's only the leaf. That's right. When you mix it with lavender and rose, it can be used as an ingredient for a love potion. It actually is thought when you mix lavender and rose and violet leaf, you can add the flowers too, that it attracts love to you, romantic loves. And when you place the leaves in your shoes, it is thought to bring you good luck for 7 days. So there's all these legends and lore. All of it comes out of Rome. Violet in general is considered the national flower for the country of Italy. It's thought to cure headaches, promote restful sleep, enhance creativity, and bring prophetic dreams that you can remember in the morning. So if you're working on dream recall, so all of those things. So Cindy's got the formula right flipping there. Violet leaf, helichrysum, turmeric, rosehip. On your face every day. You're going to be pretty for a very long time. but especially for those fine lines. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I have them. Do you have them? Like, they're fine, but over time, right, they become deeper as you smile, as you sort of, so you want to keep that area hydrated. Other fun facts, did you know that when Persephone was kidnapped by Pluto, she was picking violets? And so that's part of the legend of Persephone, is that she was out picking these flowers of beauty and purification and innocence, because the violet flower represents beauty, purification, and innocence. The leaf represents healing, transformation, and renewal. So she was out picking violet flowers when Pluto kidnapped her. So I thought that was a really interesting story too. So Michelle Quintana, can I tell you, I talked to my publisher yesterday, and she's like, so when's the aromatherapy book coming? That's the next book she wants me to write. And I'm kind of holding off a little bit, because to try and do for EOs what I did for crystals in the new history book that I just published feels very exhausting. But I think at some point I will sit down and tell the whole story. But I was like, I just finished all these books, and now she's like, how about the ultimate guide to essential oils? And I'm like, I'm tired. Yeah, well, Millie, you know, you read different stories. I've read Narcissus too, but a lot of the stories talk about her picking violet flowers, and so that's part of the story too. I think they talk about whatever flowers she was picking based on whatever narrative they're trying to tell, right? So you'll read different things in different places. Okay. It's aligned with Venus, which means it's for beauty. So violet is sacred to Venus, and I already told you about the anti-aging cellular renewal properties. So that is violet leaf. Venus, Pluto, Aquarius, Cancer, Libra, Scorpio, Virgo, Taurus, air, water, it's feminine and connected to the third eye chakra. Girl, I'm not writing. Do you know what book I'm doing next? After I finish Book of Blessings and Ritual, which is due in about a week, I am doing Pillars of Priestessing. That's what's happening next, because I am relaunching the Pillars of Priestessing program next year. And so there's going to be a 2.0 with all new writing and all new exercises and all new stuff. So that is what I am writing from October 1st until the end of the year. It's a lot. Pillars of Priestessing is the best class I've ever taught. I don't recommend that you do it now, because I'm going to relaunch it next year with all new additional content. So if you haven't done it yet, wait. But that's what's coming next, is Pillars of Priestessing. No, do not sign up now. I know that sounds really funny. Don't sign up now. It was great. I recorded it a couple of years ago. I got new stuff. So it's going to be all the original plus that. So don't do it now. Wait till next year. You have enough going on right now. You don't need any more me in your life right now. Wait till next year. Okay. All right, rosemary. Actually, let's go do blood orange. Let's do both of our EOs, and then we'll go to the herbs, and then we will come back to anima. Not enema. Anima. Where is my blood orange? Hold on. Oh, here we are. Okay. Blood orange. I'm super excited for you to put a little bit of this on your charcoal. Angela, it's a great question. And you can't ever ask a dumb question with me. Truly, truly, you can't. And I always tell people that. Please don't, ever think that you should always ask what's on your mind, because if it's on your mind, it's on somebody else's mind too. So Pillars of Priestessing was a class I taught in spiritual leadership about, was it 4 years ago now? 3 or 4 years ago now. And so it's my, like, what I think you need to know fundamentally to be a spiritual leader, or to lead your own spiritual progress. And it's different. It's not what everybody else says. So it was very exciting for everybody. But and I still, the 12 pillars have not changed, but my approach to them is changing, because I've gotten better. I got Mo going on now. It's so good to have you here, Kristen. I'm really, really delighted. And I think we have two people who are new tonight. So make sure you say hi if you're new, because I really want to welcome you. Okay, 3 deep inhales of blood orange. It's so good. It is so good. If you have your charcoal, do yourself a favor and burn it, because it's a whole different experience than anointing with it. If you're going to apply to your skin, suspend it first. The citrus can be a little aggravating when you apply it neat. I can tolerate it, but I still like it suspended. And don't go out into the sun. Of course, all your citrus EOs are photosensitive, so you don't want to go out and be in direct sun contact with citrus EOs on your skin. I think a lot of you know that, but I like to just remind you. Isn't it yummy? Oh, it's on my hands. It's everywhere. It just smells so good. Okay. When you think blood orange, you should think sex drive. Let me say it again. When you think blood orange, you should think sex drive. This is, especially for women, it wakes it up. This is Kundalini energy. This is, you know, Shakti rising. This is all of your creative passion and force. A lot of you have been saying, I've got a creative block. Hey, Jerry. It's Jerry's first live class. Indiana girl, first time. How awesome is that? Just want to welcome you guys because I'm really, really glad to have you here. Oof. Okay. Kathy asked, is there any kit with musk oil? There isn't, because natural musk is an endangered product. And so you really can't even access it anymore. I wish, because natural musk is one of my favorite smells, but it's endangered, and so that's why. Oh, nice. So Kristen says she's got a spray-on perfume with blood orange. Remember that one? That was called, was it in the black bottle, kind of the fishnet bottle? The name of it is escaping me, but it's one of my favorites too. I have it at home in my cabinet too, and I love it. That was a very sexy perfume, and that's got blood orange in it too. Millie, I agree with you. I have blood oranges at home right now, and it's my favorite orange. I've turned my kids onto it because the flavor is a little more intense. A lot of like navel oranges don't have the flavor that blood oranges do, so I'm a huge orange person. I love the fruit. I love the oils. If you don't like orange fruit, try blood orange, because I think it could change your feeling if you don't enjoy like navel or Valencia oranges. It's a mood lifter, both to eat it and to work with the essential oils. It enhances the mood. Vixen, that's right. Vixen is sexy. Vixen had blood orange. It had ginger lily. That's what Vixen was. Vixen was blood orange and ginger lily. And that combination is still, to this day, one of my favorite combinations. Absolutely, hands down. Dawn, I see your question. So we don't refund if you miss a class, because everything's recorded. So if you miss a class, you can go back and watch it later. And that's kind of the benefit, because a lot of people can't make it work on their own, you know, schedule, the time zone issue or whatever. So it's recorded, and you can watch it whenever you want, which is why we do live and recorded that way. Okay, it's for, are you ready? Here's the list of all the things it does. Enhances mood, makes you feel protected, helps you to express repressed emotions. So if you've got like emotional blockages, you know, if you have shadow stuff that you're repressing, or, you know, feelings about a relationship that aren't coming up, it helps you express those feelings in a productive way. It can actually help you during meditation to stay more alert. A lot of times I have clients who are like, how do I not fall asleep when I'm meditating? Every time I meditate, I start to fall asleep. Blood orange will keep you alert while you're meditating, but also help you still stay in that deeper state of consciousness. It opens the throat chakra, promotes communication. During weddings, especially in Italy, which is, blood orange was actually brought to America by Spanish immigrants and Italian immigrants. And Italians think that blood orange is very lucky for weddings. It's a very interesting story. That if they use either the oil of the blood orange or eat blood orange during a wedding, that it promotes fidelity for the partners, and blessings for their marriage too. Isn't that neat? It's kind of interesting how all of the history of, and so different from regular orange, right? Sweet orange has very different metaphysical properties. That's about abundance. It's a sacral opener. It can facilitate fertility, sweet orange. It is definitely a must-have, I would say. Sanguis mist, I think, had blood orange too. I think it was Sanguis and Vixen that had blood orange. But Sanguis has dragon's blood, where Vixen has the ginger lily, and that's kind of the difference between those two. And I'm going to tell you something, I'm really proud of myself, because how I hold, and I truly do hold, almost every recipe for every SG perfume in my head after all these years. And I think over the years I've blended we're coming up on like 550 different perfumes, and I still almost have recall of the ingredients, which is really crazy. That's how you know it's a spiritual process for sure. I wanted to say hi to Chantal. It's her first class from Quebec, so it's very nice to have you with us. Bonsoir. I hope you're enjoying the process with us so far. We should, okay, so Dragon's Blood. We have a couple of really interesting Dragon's Blood products coming for Samhain. So if you're a Dragon's Blood lover, hold tight, because I think you'll be very happy. Okay, here's what I want you to know. Take a bath. Do it tonight if you're so inclined. We're under a waxing moon, which is a sexy kind of time. The waxing moon is a coagulation of energy. It's energy coming to you. The waning moon is energy leaving you, but the waxing moon is energy coming towards you. And so it's a really good time to work on sex drive, work on your passion, work on your kundalini, because you're raising energy anyway. Get in a bath tonight. Make everybody go away, light some candles, and just put a couple of drops of your violet leaf in the water, which is going to soften your skin. Violet leaf is really good for cellulite, by the way, too, and all you have to do is put it in your bath water. Blood orange is good for cellulite, too. All of the citrus are really good for cellulite. So one of the things you can do after you take your lust bath, so you're going to put a couple of drops of your violet leaf in, and then about 10 drops of blood orange into your bath water, okay? And just soak. If you want to, you can meditate, you can reflect, you can imagine opening your sacral chakra, you can imagine attracting soulmate energy to you, you can imagine the kundalini energy rising from your sacral chakra and winding its way up your spine all the way to the crown. Whatever kind of crazy, sexy fun, you can have fun in the bathtub. But this is a really good, literally it's a good recipe for improving your own libido and bringing more vitality, helping to wake you up a little bit, especially if you feel dormant, if you feel kind of like slow, like your passion levels are low and you don't get that excited about stuff anymore. You're going to feel a real pickup once you use these in your bath. And then what I was going to tell you is the other thing to do. Do you have a dry brush? Because if you don't, that's your homework, is to get a dry brush. It is the key to having youthful skin, I think, into your 30s, 40s, 50s. I learned this from my mom too. So you can either add the EO directly to your running water, or you can mix it with Epsom salt and pop it in your bath, whatever you like best. I would, with the matcha powder, I like to add that to the salt and the oil to the salt for your creativity bath that you're taking next month with your Japan set. But when you're just using the EOs, I like to pour them directly under running water and just let them diffuse into the bath. The heat of the water will release the scent of the oils. Your whole bathroom is going to smell like oranges. It's going to smell like you're in an orchard. So be careful. Don't use too much, because it'll really, really be an overpowering scent. On your dry brush, it's so good for you. So I wish I had one to show you. I usually have one of everything sitting here. If you go on Amazon and you search dry brush, their brush is about this long, and it's like the brush you use in the shower. It's got a big long handle, and it usually has a bristle head right about that big. And what you do is you put essential oils on that. Put a little bit of your blood orange and a little bit of your violet leaf. I like to put the oils in my hands and then rub my hand over the bristles, and then you scrub your body with it. You don't do it, I do it dry, which is why they call it dry brushing. And you go over your arms. If you ever get those bumps on your arms, if you take 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar a day and then dry brush with blood orange and violet leaf, it'll smooth out all the little bumps on your arms. I don't know if you suffer from that, but it's a very common condition, and that is the cure. Blood orange on a dry brush and a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in water every day, and you'll never have those little bumps on your arm again. Is it still in stock? Karen, thank you for that. So we actually have them on sagegoddess.com. You don't need the Naked perfume, because one of the ingredients in Naked is blood orange. So you actually, in your kit tonight, you have 2 of the best EOs you can use. So Kristen, it's going to firm up the skin here. If you want to tighten up your arms, you need 5-pound free weights in your bathroom. I can teach you the exercises to do, and it'll tighten up your arms 5 minutes a day. That's easy. And then you go over it with a dry brush with your blood orange and your violet leaf, and you'll get rid of any uneven skin or patches or dry skin too. Crepey skin responds really well to coconut oil, guys. Hands down. Whether it's here on your neck, which is where a lot of women get crepey, we get crepey under here, we tend to get crepey on the top of our arms, we tend to get crepey around the eyes, and we tend to get crepey right here, right? And so anywhere you get crepey, coconut oil. And you know, my brother, who is, I'm 45, so my brother is 57. Now he's a raw vegan, so it's really hard to compare, and I'm not. He looks like he's 40, but it's because he's a raw vegan. You take animal products out of your diet and you will look 10 years younger. I'm not going to do that because I love hamburgers. And so that's not going to happen for me. But I did learn from my brother, because he was like, I've changed my skin. And I was like, dude, seriously, what are you doing? Such a man to say this, right? But he's in, you know, the little cup holder in your car? He keeps coconut oil in there. And at every stoplight, he puts it all over his face and his hands and his arms. His age spots are gone. He has like no fine lines and wrinkles. The guy has transformed his skin. And he's so simple about it. He's like, don't eat meat and use coconut oil, and it'll take 10 years off your skin. It's a good question. So Scara's asking what crepey is. Crepey is like, I'm trying to see if I have some to show you. It's like, I don't know, is that crepey? It's like when your skin starts to sort of, it loses its elasticity and its collagen, and so it starts to look kind of dry and a little wrinkly. That's what crepey is. And women, we tend to show our crepe first right here in this like arm area, and then here we get crepey, and then usually there's little places around like the eyes and the cheeks and stuff that get crepey. That party paper, that's right, Michelle Quintana. That's interesting, Anna. Most coconut oil smells like coconut, you know what I mean? But yeah, it gets thin, but you realize like your skin loses moisture, so put the moisture back. The best thing you can do, so I'm gonna wrap this up in 3 tips for you, because we've talked about blood orange pretty completely now. 3 anti-aging tips for you that will change your skin forever, that are super cheap and easy. Ready? The first thing is take fish oil every day. It's going to hydrate you from the inside, which is going to impact your skin. If you don't drink enough water, at least take fish oil. And you want to do the omega-3s because you don't want to create more inflammation in the body. So you should be taking fish oil supplements every day, minimum, I would say. Then you need to apply topically things like rosehip seed oil, violet leaf, absolute, your helichrysum essential oil to your skin topically, and a lot of coconut oil, which is coconut oil mimics the sebum, like the natural oils in your skin, and so it's not going to cause breakouts. I still have acne, and so I have to watch out that I don't end up with breakouts. Now, I just found a brand new fish oil on Amazon that's called Burp Free or Burp Less omega-3 pills. And I tell you, since I've been using them, I haven't burped. I haven't had a fish burp. I know, but it literally is called No Burp or Burp Free or whatever. So if you go on Amazon and search Burp Free fish oil pills, you're going to find what I bought, and I haven't burped once. And then the other tip is you got a dry brush. And it sounds really funny, but I do this in the shower, up and down on my behind. And I have no cellulite. Is it? Cindy, unfortunately, for whatever reason, it might be because I have MS, but my doctor has said I can only take omega-3s. That in terms of inflammation risk in my body, that I can't do the other omegas. So I don't know what that is. If you have a serious condition, always check with your doctor. I even talk to my doctor before I take extra vitamin B or fish oil or apple cider vinegar or everything, because I have a whole medical team who watches me, and so I even talk with them about vitamin supplements and other things, and for whatever reason, my team has said only omega-3. But it may be that, you know, your health impacts that in some way. Well, Janet, I've always had crappy brands then until I found burp-free omega-3s with no burps. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're really lucky. Shall we talk about rosemary? Interesting. Very, very interesting. See, we all have different like exigencies with our health, so it's really important. I think we should exchange tips and then go back and figure out, you know, what specifically from your own health perspective is good for you. Audrey, you know, cellulite doesn't discriminate. So I had cellulite in my 20s and got rid of it by dry brushing, and now in my 40s I don't have any. And after having 2 kids is pretty impressive. And I will tell you too, I dry brush my C-section scar. Is that too much information for you? But I had a C-section with my daughter, and I had a really bad scar, and I dry brushed it for now going on 10 years, and it's pretty much gone. So you can dry brush scars and really reduce the appearance of them, especially if you're using essential oils. My skin has healed really, really beautifully. And CBD, hemp oil, really good for scars. If you have stretch marks from having children, all of those are really good for hydrating your skin. Okay, this is rosemary. Oh, girls, you are never too old, never too big. It's never too late. I am here to inspire you. Never, never, never. You just begin where you are. Any scars respond to hemp. And avocado oil is flippin' fantastic for scars. That's the other carrier oil I would recommend for you. It's hugely hydrating, really good for scars, and then you just dry brush over that scar real good. It's gonna help you a lot. Okay. You guys are so sweet. Okay, this is rosemary, as you know, protection, clearing. This is also associated with Venus, and what's interesting is if you do your homework and go back in history, all of the herbs and the oils that were used during Lemuralia were all sacred to Venus. There is a connection between that festival, that Roman Day of the Dead, and the goddess Venus, and I think that's the connection. Rosemary is really good for your hair, by the way. So what you could do, what I used to do when I was younger, my mom would help me with this. We would warm up olive oil. Old ancient Greek recipe, right? We would warm up olive oil before she would wash my hair. So I've always had really long hair. And she would warm it up, and then she would put rosemary, fresh rosemary, into it and let it steep for about half an hour. And then she would put that through my hair, not at the top, because you don't want to put any oil right here. Your hair will get really greasy and it's very hard to remove. So you only want to apply any oil, coconut oil or olive oil, to the body of your hair and really concentrate on the ends. And that rosemary in that olive oil is nurturing for your hair. It's good for growth of the hair. It heals the ends. Like if you're trying to prevent split ends, it's really, really good. It wards off evil, reduces nightmares, attracts love, and strengthens the soul. It enhances the memory, and there are actually quite a few people who are talking about rosemary essential oil for people who have Alzheimer's and all other kinds of memory disorders. Isn't that interesting? Kenda says her mom used to get the bottles of oil that you warm first and put in your hair. Do you remember that? They still have those like hot oil treatments. Did you ever do that? It's kind of like that. And my mom would, warm up the oil, mix the fresh rosemary from the garden, and then stick the cup in the shower. And because the steam of the shower would sort of keep it warm. I hated it because when you're a kid, when your mom's trying to help you, you resent it. And now I'm like, there are days where I just would give anything to feel my mom brushing that olive oil through my hair. You know what I mean? Like I can still smell it, I can still feel it. And my hair would be shiny for weeks after that. You know, like I just had a haircut. Really, really awesome. Oh my God, VO5. That's like a huge memory for me because I didn't want to do the olive oil in college, but I still wanted to have the experience. So I remember in college buying the VO5. Is that funny? I totally remember that. Those little tubes, and you would like snap off the top and stick it. Okay, so Louise, this is interesting. So Louise said, I have a bad memory and I'm extremely drawn to rosemary, helps him focus. So Louise, let me add on to that since this is AroMagic, okay? If you're having memory problems, focus problems, whether it's a student or you're, experiencing early stages of Alzheimer's, which not a lot of us are, but a lot of our parents are, here's what I want to recommend to you. And always remember I told you this because down the road you may need to know this and you may not, you might want to write something down or take some notes. Geranium with rosemary is really, really helpful for memory and recall. And if you use datolite, which is a crystal, it's a gemstone, but it's one of the most powerful gemstones for memory. Fluorite's good too, fluorite and datolite, D-A-T-O-L-I-T-E. I don't know if we have any datolite left. We had some for a long time, and then somebody found out that it was good for Alzheimer's and memory stuff, and then it was gone. So, but geranium is really good. Rosemary is really good for focus, and the combination of those two, it smells really beautiful, and it's very, it's very awakening. Now, you could add lemon to that too. Lemon, rosemary, ginger, would be another one to sort of like for focus, for sharpening memory. So that is kind of a nice alchemy of different EOs to use. And then what you can do, Louise, if you want to play with that, you can blend those to a smell that you like. You know what I mean? Because they're all good for focus. Maybe you find that you like it to be more of a lemon forward blend, right? So the rosemary and the geranium take a back seat. Or you might want it to be a rosemary forward blend, so the lemon and the geranium take a back seat. But those are the ones that I would recommend. That's a great, well, I could actually make a blend if you wanted, like a focus blend. But you guys have such expansive libraries at this point that you probably have everything that you need. But I love to give you all the suggestions because I want to see you play a little bit. And because the EOs partner so beautifully with the gemstones. You know, those are very sympathetic tools. And so I think if you're going to work with your plant medicines, I think you should also work with your crystal allies too and let them be partners together. Yeah, Team SG said Data Light's out of stock. I will tell you right now because because I know we can't get any more right now. So if it's out of stock, it's going to be out of stock for a while. But you might be able to find it elsewhere online. It is a really good one, and there aren't a lot of stones for memory. That's one of the foremost ones that's really, really good. Oh, hey, Jessica. Jessica made it to live class, and it's her first. So we want to welcome you, too. I think that's it's really special when it's your first class. I'm glad that you're here with us. Okay, cool. So I'm glad that was helpful. Okay. It is the oldest herb known to be used for purification other than frankincense and myrrh. Let me say that again. Rosemary is the oldest herb used for purification outside of frankincense and myrrh. That's pretty impressive, I think. It's a tradition for newlyweds to take a fresh rosemary sprig from a garden, dip it into their champagne or their water, let it steep throughout the ceremony, and then drink it that night. It's thought to bring an easy marriage, protected for the couple, no conflicts. So that's an old tradition, especially in Italy. It also follows that couples who plant rosemary together on their honeymoon will have a long and happy marriage together. Wasn't that fun? Thank you for that. So Alexandra said, don't forget memory acupressure points. Alexandra, would you be willing to share that information with us? I would absolutely love, I don't know if you could do like a little video or a post for us and maybe show us where those acupressure points are. I just think that that's another complementary modality. And if you're willing to do that, I would really, really appreciate that. Not to put you on the spot, Alexandra, but since you mentioned it. Okay. Last but not least, before we talk about anima, is your olive leaf. You want to hear a funny story? Two quick funny stories. I'm going to go drop the shade, though, really quick, because you're about to not be able to see me, so stay tuned. The sun is setting. Hold on. Okay. Olive leaf. Now, I'm Greek. Oh, good. She said it's between the eyebrows and the hairline on the forehead. Right here. I bet you could tap, right? Tapping would probably be a really good technique to activate that. Okay, here's what's funny. Olives are incredibly sacred to Greek people, right? Olive trees have ringed all of the sacred temples, the Oracle at Delphi. Every sacred site in Greece is ringed by olive trees. My kids are allergic to it. We did allergy testing on my kids because they've had terrible allergies. And the only thing that they are both allergic to is olive leaf. I looked at that doctor and I was like, I demand a retest. My kids are Greek. They have good Greek names, and they cannot be allergic to olive leaves, but they are. So anyway, I thought that was really fun. It's like, what is happening to me right now? Do you know, when I found that out, I had a dream that night, and I don't think I would tell anybody else this, but I'm going to tell you because I don't think you'll think I'm crazy. I had a dream last night, or that night, when we got home. And in that dream, my spirit guide said, your kids are allergic to olive trees because they are transmuting all of the karma from your line. They are the generation that's going to transmute anything from that line that needed to be purified. So they're rejecting it on a karmic level. And I was like, holy shit. That's interesting, isn't it? I was like, wow, that's how it shows up. Really interesting stuff. Okay. So the olive tree in Greece and in Rome was a symbol of peace, patience, and immortality. During the Lemuralia festival, which is what we're studying tonight, this was used to access ancestral wisdom. And so I'm going to burn a little bit if my charcoal disc is still participating. I know, that stuff blew my mind. Sometimes when the spirit guides say things, I'm like, really? Whew. Well, so Angela, what could that mean karmically, right? If your daughter's allergic to apples, what would that mean? Like what could be released? So here I'm burning a little olive leaf, calling in some ancestral wisdom for you. Could be. Kids are turning up with allergies these days to things that they were never allergic to before. And I think it's because our systems are being disrupted by toxins in our environment. And so it's disrupting our basic patterns. And so that part saddens me a little bit. I think that's true, though. Okay. It is said that the tree of life in the Garden of Eden was an olive tree. I don't know if that is true. It's beautiful, isn't it? Do you smell it? It feels very earthy. Like this feels old world to me, right? Like this smells like something you would smell burning in Italy, in Tuscany, right? Yeah, too many pesticides for sure. Okay, so in ancient Rome, they hung olive branches on their front doors to protect from evil spirits, especially during the Lemuralia, because it was thought that the spirits were flying through the air because they were being ritually exorcised, and so they would hang big branches, big olive branches over their doors to make sure that these spirits would avoid their homes. In ancient Rome, olive leaf was said to induce fertility in men and to make them lustful. It was also said to ensure their fidelity. So it made men in particular, for whatever reason, really interested, but it also was said to make sure that they were faithful too. Olive leaves attract marriage partners, induce fertility in men and women, bring good fortune, they produce serotonin, they boost the immune system, they destroy proteins in the brain that provoke Alzheimer's disease. We were just talking about Alzheimer's, right? Olive leaf destroys the proteins in the brain that sort of predict or facilitate Alzheimer's disease. Isn't that interesting? So it actually is good for your brain. It helps you fight off infection because the smoke is antimicrobial and antibacterial. So literally it's helping you release what isn't serving you from your energy field, from your physical body. And in Italy today, there are olive trees that date back between 3,500 and 6,000 years ago. And so it truly is one of the oldest trees. Whether it is the tree of life from the Garden of Eden, I'm a skeptic. That didn't resonate with me, I will tell you. That didn't sound accurate to me. And I'm always going to be honest with you. Like, if I think something sounds right, I will tell you. But the whole thing about being the tree of life, it says that somewhere, but it didn't resonate with me. Rosie, when that man finds you, he will be the luckiest partner in the world. It's really true. And I will tell him that. I will be like, you've got Rosie. You're a lucky man. So when that day comes, I will be happy to help you with that. Yes, so THC and DMT both activate. I would use the word activate rather than rebuild. I agree with you both. I think marijuana is very powerful for memory, and I think DMT, which is the God molecule, the entheogen, the active ingredient in ayahuasca, is also really important for activating memory. It activates cellular memory. And so it helps you learn how to heal yourself. That's what those substances do. They're also both activators of what I would call activators of inactive wisdom. So there's wisdom inside of you that's dormant. And one of the things I have found is that THC, which is the active component, the psychoactive component in cannabis, and DMT, which is the psychoactive component in ayahuasca, both activate dormant information, dormant code, dormant wisdom, dormant information. They make it possible to hear the voice of God. But it's, people have strong feelings one way or the other. I think we're getting to a place, though, where our society has been so destroyed by opioids and artificial synthetic drugs that we're finally coming around and saying maybe the plant medicines are not so bad. But I think you have to go with what works for you, and you know, let your spirit guides guide you in the right direction. Okay, last but not least, it's been fast and furious tonight, but I hope you've had fun. I grow ayahuasca really successfully here in Southern California, so I think it just depends on your zone. There's two different plant compounds, right? There's the Banisteriopsis caapi, which is the B caapi is the inactive, and then there's the chacruna, which is the psychoactive, the Psychotria vidris. And so those are the two plants that you combine in to make ayahuasca tea, and they grow really well in Southern California. Anywhere you have a little humidity, they do pretty well. They do. And Nathan, I would tell you, like, that's honestly my opinion. And you know, I'm a parent, right? Like, one day I'm going to have to explain all this to my children, but plant medicines were meant to be used, but they were meant to be used, you know, sacramentally. They were meant to be used in a religious context. They weren't meant to be, in my opinion, just used recreationally, you know, for no particular purpose. That I think they're meant to bring you closer to God. So I think when you use plant medicines in a sacred way, you end up having a positive experience. And I think when you use plant medicines in a non-sacred way, you can end up having the other kind of experience too. Okay, so this is anima. This is the last thing I want to tell you about tonight. Anima is a pure essential oil dram of chamomile for love and money, vetiver for sex and protection, juniper berry for purification, cypress for transformation, and geranium for renewal, vitality, and health. I'm going to say this one more time because I want to make sure you've got it all. Anima contains Roman chamomile for love and prosperity, financial prosperity, vetiver for sex and protection, juniper berry for purification, cypress for transformation and also transmutation, and then geranium for renewal, vitality, and health. Isn't it yummy? 3 deep inhales. So good. I'm going to put a little bit on my charcoal too before it's like gone for the night, because this is literally like its last leg right here. Gosh, I hope I spill this all over myself, because I really just want to smell like this right now. I did spill it all over myself. But that's what skin is for. Okay. So anima in Latin means the soul, the core of you, the heart of you. And during the Lamaralia, anima represented the souls of the departed that were leaving the body, okay, at the time of death or during the ceremony. This takes me somewhere else. It gets me buzzy. Does it get you buzzy? Peggy's dog is into it, so that's always a good sign when the animals like it. Okay, so here's what I want you to do for just a brief meditation, and you can do this anytime. I'm going to give you a quick example of it for tonight, but if you want to like do a longer version, I highly recommend it. I'm going to put a little bit more on because I can't get enough. And like I said, you can, if you want to make this last longer, you can dilute that in coconut oil, you can dilute it in sweet almond, in olive oil, in any of jojoba, of course, avocado, hemp, any of your preferred carrier oils. Okay, so I want you to take 1 deep inhale, whether it's through the smoke or on your skin. If you don't have it, just play with us, okay? 1 deep inhale, calling in love and financial prosperity with that chamomile. And I want you to imagine you're communing directly with that plant spirit. And so chamomile, spirit of the chamomile, we're calling in love tonight and prosperity and abundance for everybody who's present now and everyone who will watch later. And then with our vetiver, so calling upon the plant spirit of vetiver to bring passion and protection, which are the 2 primary properties of vetiver. Passion and protection. And then calling in the energy, the plant medicine of juniper berry for purification. Isn't it good? Yeah, so Amanda's got all the oils. Girl, blend it. Seriously. I mean, that's the fun of AroMagic, right? Is the mixology of it. So if you've got some of these things, put them together. So deep inhale here, working with cypress plant medicine for transformation. Remember that cypress, I've taught you cypress before, but just to remind you, cypress in Asia is considered the tree of the dead. Cypress trees were planted in a ring around the Oracle at Delphi, but that's because in ancient Greece, cypress was considered to be a tree of psychic awareness. They thought it transferred wisdom from the dead to the living, but in Asia today, but in ancient Asia as well, it was thought to be sort of a bad omen. But in general, cypress is transformation through wisdom. It's harvesting what we know from the ancestors and integrating that wisdom into our daily lives. Woo! Okay, and then with geranium, we're calling in renewal, vitality, and health. So connecting to the plant spirit of geranium for renewal, vitality, and health, calling in those energy streams. You have to remember your EOs are vibrational. They're healing tools. And so you absolutely can dialogue with them. They actually do call in energy streams to you, and they can bring all of these properties to you. Woo! It's yummy, isn't it? And so one more deep breath. When you need to come back to center, when you need balance, the blend of these oils is designed to do just that. It's designed to bring you all of the major energy streams, so your prosperity, your peace, your wisdom, your sex, your protection, your purification, your transformation, your renewal, your vitality, it's all in there. But what's really beautiful is it is also true to what the Romans created and used to anoint themselves during the Lemuralia festival. And so you're working with everything in this kit is actually true to what was used during that festival in ancient Rome. It's really, really cool. Everything that we offered you tonight, native to the region, sacred to the holiday. And so there's a lot of resonance. I think you were feeling it too. So I hope you really enjoyed tonight's class. I hope it balanced you. I hope it brought you back to center. That's always the intention, especially in this class where we are working with plant medicine, right? I mean, just because we're not working with psychoactive materials tonight doesn't mean they're not plant teachers. And so I think approaching, whether it's the herb or the oil, whatever form it is, with reverence is really important because they do have things to teach you. And they work on your olfactory system, which is part of the limbic system in your brain. It's the oldest part of your human brain. It's really your pre-human brain. And so it bypasses language, it bypasses cognitive understanding. It's a much more primal relationship energetically with scent than there is with anything else, even with your crystals. And so I hope that unearthing that magic improves your life. You know, the whole reason I've taught this class this year is because I really believe that to be true. And we are going to work with herbs and oils next year, not in exactly the same way, but they're always going to be part of our practice because they're so important. So shelf life for EOs can vary, but generally you're looking at a couple of years. Some of your carrier oils do go rancid. Not so much your EOs, but your carriers. Your sweet almond will go rancid, has to be refrigerated, which is why I don't use it. I've never even made a single perfume with sweet almond as the carrier oil because jojoba has a 2-year shelf life minimum. Sometimes you can extend it up to 4 years, depending on the quality of the jojoba, if it's organic and so forth. And so I think it's really good to use a jojoba as opposed to other carrier oils that can go rancid. Or in some cases, olive oil gives too much of a savory scent to my perfumes, and I don't want that. But then, you know, with anima, for example, olive oil will be highly complementary, both in terms of the properties of it and in terms of the scent of it. So I think it really depends on what blend you're working with and what your intention is for using that blend too. I'm glad you liked it. I'm so glad you had a good first class, Indiana girl. Thank you for that. Thank you, Breezy, for the feedback. Lisa enjoyed it. Thank you, thank you. You're so welcome, you guys. Yes, I'm with you, Cindy. I like jojoba, but here's why you like jojoba. Again, we tend to like the carrier oils that have the same slip as our skin's own natural sebum. You know the oil on your skin, like late at night, early in the morning, you feel it's kind of oily to the touch? That's sebum. Your skin actually wants that. When people wash their face too much, they age prematurely. You should only wash your face once, maybe twice a day. And you don't want to over scrub your face. You only want to wash your hair at most 2 times a week. You want the natural oils to stay on your skin and hair. It's another way to improve your chances of aging well. All right. Does anybody know, Kenna, did you have a question? I want to make sure I answer all your questions before we go. I know, Kristen. Well, when you do come to Southern California, we're going to have quite the date. I look forward to that. All right, you guys. Well, it was wonderful to see you and be with you. So wonderful, in fact. Thank you for being here. Celine, I will try to do that for you. Opopanax would be really, really beautiful with this, wouldn't it? Yeah, so this is a cord cutting kit, but let me tell you how and why. The ancient Romans during the Lemuralia festival released karmic ties to ancestors who were not in healed space. And so that's the last thing I wanted to mention to you tonight. If you're open to it, because we're anointed with all the herbs, all the oils, everything else. If you're open to it tonight, you can release any energy from the past using these tools, especially in this season when the veil is thin, to release any ties to ancestors who are not in healed space. Your ancestors, when they cross the veil, have two choices. They can go into healed space, which means they evolve on their soul's path toward their next soul contract, or they can choose to remain in unhealed space, which means a lot of times they hold on to the trauma and the conflicts that they experienced in their human life because for some reason they're still attached. When we do sacred work, we don't want to work with ancestors who are not in healed space because they can still do harm from the spirit realm. You know, they weren't your allies in life, and now they're not your allies on the other side. And so, if you would like to do this with me, I'm just going to quickly open a little container. And so tonight, just taking a deep inhale to work with the plants. With love and generosity, we release the energy streams of any ancestors from our lines who are not in healed space. We release you energetically, we release you physically with love. And so we can also at the same time call closer to us those ancestors who are in healed space, who have much to teach us about healing, about love, about transformation, who can share messages with us from the great beyond about how they have moved forward on their soul's path, and maybe advice that they can give us about how to accelerate our own development too. And so let's do this one more time formally. So on the inhale, calling in all the wisdom from all of your ancestors, from both of your lines across space and time. And then on the exhale, releasing any ancestors who have not traveled to healed space. Tonight we release those cords. I'm going to narrow those cords rather than cut those cords. If you'd like to cut them, you can cut them, but I'm just going to narrow the cords to any ancestors who are not in healed space. We send you love and many blessings. We're thankful for your presence. Amen, aho, and so it is. And so it's just putting a little bit of karmic distance between you and ancestors who cannot be in service to your highest good. And so that is what they used to do during Lemuralia. And so in a very abbreviated way, that's what we did tonight. And by working with Anima in the way that we did, we called in all of those energy streams to you tonight. The love, the prosperity, the sex, the passion, the protection, all of that, the renewal and the vitality all came forward to you. And so ancestors who are in healed space are welcome to also come through and reinforce those energy streams as well. Aho. And on we go. It was a good one tonight, wasn't it? Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful, Kristen. I need to go and read that. I really appreciate that you did that. That is holy work. And it's really hard sometimes, especially if we loved our ancestors, to recognize when they have not crossed over to a more healed space, and that we need to limit that connection for our own well-being, right? And that we can choose ultimately whose energy streams we allow to continue to flow through our lines and whose energy streams we decide to limit contact with. So Anima, again, the ingredients are chamomile, vetiver, juniper berry, cypress, and geranium. And if you missed that, I also repeated it a couple of times when we did our little meditation, what energy streams it was calling in. If you would like, I can make a meme of that and also make a meme of the matcha lemongrass bath salt blend too. Those are the two memes that are sort of on my mind for you. And so I will work on those in the next week and get those posted into your Facebook group as well. I'm so happy for you. So Kenda, it really doesn't matter. There's still 10% is still a high proportion of your violet leaf. So I would still use only about 6 to 8 drops maybe of your violet leaf in your bath. It's still very, very potent, but like I said, Team SG and I are going to work on getting the undiluted version in the shop for you, along with helichrysum, and maybe a little rosehip seed carrier oil for you too, so that you can have all that together for your anti-aging pleasure. Sending love to our beloved firefighters tonight. Okay, so the September kit says join the wait list. It might be out. I'll have to check on that for you tomorrow. But I wanted to remind you, I said earlier tonight, this is my last little note for you before we go home, the 18% sale ends tonight at midnight. I think the code is Sunny18. After tonight, there's no 18%. So if you want to save almost 20% on your kit, I would definitely recommend that you get it before midnight tonight. That's my little sneak update to you. I would feel so bad if you went to get it tomorrow and you're like, the 18% is gone. So anyway, anything you want, I would shop before midnight. Have a great rest of your night, you guys. Thank you for that, Cynthia. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful to see you guys. Thank you for being here. I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We have live specimen sale tomorrow at 4 p.m. All new Denver stuff. So if you want to see more Denver goodies, if you just want to see what I brought home, you might want to join me from 4 to 5:30 tomorrow. I'll see you then. Thanks, you guys. Go get a dry brush. Brush your butt. You'll be glad you did. I'll see you soon.